river surfing existed, but it was very much like a novelty activity that happened, only at very high flows on these sort of freakish waves. And even then there was very few people doing it. There's all these old structures, old low-head dams, old utility crossings all over this country, thousands of them, literally tens of thousands of them. These remnants of all this industry are hazards. They're impediments to access, and they're impediments to people using this waterway. Why not make a wave there and give some reason for local kids and local families to be out on the water? And people's mindset has switched from a river being like an open sewer that just conveniently flows downhill away from your community to an asset. Yeah, I moved here when I was 6 days after graduate high school, actually, when I was 18 years old. I had a teacher in high school. He was like, hey, you should come out and be a whitewater raft guide. And I didn't know what that was, but it sounded like a cool thing to do for the summer. Yeah, this is kind of where it all started. That's me guiding a whitewater rafting trip in the early 90s. And I got really into whitewater kayaking, set my life up around doing as much paddling as possible. I slept out of my car that summer, so, camped out every night and just was, felt good, felt right for me, and just was like, I'll probably just do this the rest of my life. Lost in a fruitless car. Yeah, my name is Zach. I'm the designer and shaper, I guess, here at Badfish. We met right as I was leaving Prescott College. We both went to the same college in Arizona, and then we both wound up in the Arkansas Valley together as raft guides. I would say we really got to know each other when he came down to Honduras. I had been doing some adventure kayak trips and leading different rafting things. He came down and was just so fired up to paddle that we really became close friends there. The river corridor in downtown Salida was like this forgotten kind of outer backdoor part of the community. So you have 80 miles of world-class whitewater on the upper Arkansas River, but right in downtown Salida, the river was victim of 100 years of industry and development. Banks that were artificial, full of like concrete debris, and a flood control ditch in downtown Salida. The river was a place to stay away from, put fences up, put walls up, keep people away, keep kids out of there. It's too dangerous,
Yeah, my name is Paul Byers. My brother and I grew up in Salida and Howard and learned to kayak from my dad, and him and I would do the Fib Arc race together on Father's Day. Well, it don't come with a master plan. When I was really young, no one really kayaked, so we would tube in the river. Somebody got the crazy idea of tying a piece of plywood to the bridge, and then you could scurf back and forth. The board would stay in the middle of the river when you fell off. So the hardest part was to swim out to the river, and then you'd have to resurface the plywood. Tragically, my brother, one time on the 4th of July, and all his friends were doing it in Howard, and he must have hit his head and got wrapped up in the rope, and no one had a knife, and he just dangled there, and all of them watching drown. The sport just ended instantly.
The idea was, well, could we make accessible whitewater in Salida? And then also, could we open up the river corridor to the whole community? Instead of it being sort of like out the back door and inaccessible ditch, could we make it something that was a highlighted feature of our community? So we kind of hatched this idea of building a whitewater park. There's a long history here in Salida of moving rocks around in the river to make whitewater. So going back even to the 60s, people would just kind of put bulldozers in the river, push piles of rocks up to make the slalom races more interesting and things like that. I had been to a competition in the mid-90s in Golden, Colorado. That was like the first real public whitewater park in the US, opened in 1996. And it was just made so much sense that we would do it here in Salida.
My name is Spencer Lacey. I'm a design engineer for our civil engineering firm. It's called Recreation Engineering and Planning. My dad started it. His name is Gary Lacey. He's kind of known as the grandfather of whitewater parks because he was the first one doing it. Mike was the one with the Arkansas River Trust who got the Salida Whitewater Park started.
I had a few friends of mine in town, paddling buddies of mine. We all decided like we want to do this. We want to try to make this whitewater park happen. And so we actually went through a process of getting a permit from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to do this project in downtown Salida.
He was basically ready to put rocks in the river, and then I think he realized he didn't know what he was doing.
I drove the excavator down the boat ramp, made a big pile of rocks, and I just freaked out. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I can't actually build this, you know? Like I didn't think I would get to that point. I knew about the guy that had designed the Golden Park. His name was Gary Lacey. Left him a message and just said, you know, I've got this pile of rocks and this excavator and a permit, but I don't really know what to do with any of it. To his credit, he called me back immediately. It's like, I'll come down tomorrow. So we built that very first feature in the spring of 2000. That really started the project.
They ended up working together, doing the first two features in the Salida Whitewater Park, quickly realized that they had an awesome working relationship.
We've done it through a partnership with the city of Salida. We've raised money through a nonprofit that we started back then called the Arkansas River Trust. It's been like a 25-year project that we've done in multiple phases and just sort of been this like labor of love here in the community. River surfing existed, but it was very much like a novelty activity that happened, you know, only at very high flows on these sort of freakish waves. And even then there was very few people doing it as part of construction of the whitewater park in Pueblo, Colorado. I went down there one time at high water and saw guys out there riding it. Zach and I have been good friends for a long time, kayaking buddies, and I called him because he grew up in San Diego. I knew he had a bunch of surfboards in his garage. It's like, we should get your boards and come down here and try this. And Zach, on the way home, is of like a natural designer. His brain was already turning on like how the boards could be better, and this isn't the same as ocean surfing. And very shortly after that, he started shaping boards in his garage.
So the first badfish board was ever made was out of blue insulation home foam, glued together to create the rocker in my little press, and then shaped and glassed. Then we started producing these other boards and actually buying real foam. But I made quite a few of these blue board foam boards to start, and that was kind of where we started. Problems over the years or challenges have been manufacturing, getting things built at a high quality level that we're happy with. In the beginning, we struggled with that a lot because we had a partnership with another brand, and we've managed to take that all in-house and conquer all those problems. As far as like surfing with my kids, I mean, it's pretty amazing. So I'm also a parent as well as like this coach trying to get them to, you know, have fun or excel at the sport. It's been amazing for all of us in Badfish, for myself with my daughters, Mike with Miles and Chloe. This has very much been a brand that's been built on and around our kids in a really amazing way. Miles has also just been a huge part of it because of his age. And as he grew up through the brand, he was in the perfect place with his surfing ability to give me a person to bounce ideas off.
My name is Miles Harvey. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Salida, Colorado. I'm a hunting guide. I work at a ranch, and I'm an athlete. For me, I was pretty small, and a lot of the boards that my dad and his friends were riding were too big for me. And Zach was always right there, willing to come up with a new board for me.
I don't even know how many years of these custom little rigs I made him. The pop shove-its, all this aerial maneuvers started to happen for him.
As our relationship and I've gotten older, has evolved, that I've been able to help design boards, and we've been able to work together on a few projects. So it's a really special thing that he's been so willing to build me boards all these years.
At first, the boards he made were honestly like, I couldn't ride them. You had to have real surfing skills, and I didn't. And so I couldn't like pop up fast enough. I'd always flush off, and I started getting kind of frustrated with it. My friend Earl Richmond in Buena Vista, he turned me on to stand-up paddleboarding.
Hey there, my name's Earl Richmond. I live here in Buena Vista, Colorado on the lovely Arkansas River. I work for the town of Buena Vista in the recreation department, and we help build rec infrastructure for people to play in, so parks, trails, playgrounds, stages, and surf waves. I'm a transplant surfer from California, but been here 30 years, and I knew that river surfing and just, having that freedom of standing on a board on the river was something that I wanted to be a part of my life, and it's really become an everyday thing that I do. And about 15 years ago, I got my first paddleboard and ended up on a river trip with Mike, and he wanted to try it, and instantaneously he fell in love with it. At the same time, Zach was designing surfboards and using them up here in BD and Salida, so we were just connected right away.
For me as a kayaker, I was like, this is just kayaking on my feet. Like, I can't do this now. I'm falling over all the time, but I could figure this out. What Zach had been doing in his garage merged with this could be something really cool.
First board I ever made for Mike, and it was the first real river surfer based sup board ever created. The stand-up paddle surfing started to evolve and boards got lighter. Miles and I really wanted to get more into prone board, just with no paddle surfing. And Mike was evolving waves that were getting better and better and better.
At the same time, I got a grant from the state of Colorado to build 2 new features here. Well, maybe we can make river surfing specific waves. Like we did it on accident in Pueblo, maybe we could do it on purpose here in Salida. Designing and building river waves is like equal parts engineering and science and art. Rivers are so complicated. They're very complicated systems. We're trying to build something that's very specific. The waves we're surfing on standing waves or stationary waves. So you can think of it like a surfing treadmill. In this case, water's flowing downhill. It's flowing over engineered drop structure, or in nature, maybe a rock ledge. And it's falling over that, and it's creating a wave that stays in one place. And so you surf back and forth across the face of it while the water moves under you, instead of being propelled towards the coast by a swell. What's particularly hard about it is that in nature, that perfect wave that's just steep enough to surf, but doesn't fall over in itself and become a crumbly whitewater hole, that's a very thin margin there. In Colorado, you can't just turn the water on and off. We have to wait. We have to wait for it to snow. We have to wait for it to melt. We have to wait for it to come up, and we have to wait for it to come back down again to be able to get back in there. So it's by definition like a 12-month period of evaluation. When we built this wave, the Scout Wave, this new version of it, we saw the things that worked really well, which the wave worked amazingly well. It did everything we hoped it would do, and people loved it, and the use and the feedback from people that like to river surf was immediate. But then other things didn't work as well, and so we had to go back in this last winter and address those. We want to have a feature for river surfers, but not at the exclusion of anyone else, And then on top of that, we have to consider the ecology of the river and a really active sport fishing economy here in sport fishing industry around catching those trout.
My name is Alex Townsend. I am an aquatic biologist for Colorado Parks and Wildlife. And my management area is the Upper Arkansas River Basin, so I get to manage the headwaters of the Arkansas River from the Leadville area on down to just above Pueblo Reservoir. So the ecosystem of the Upper Arkansas is a very unique headwater stream combined with high mountain lakes and reservoirs that feed the Arkansas River headwaters through snowpack melt every year. This system is host to many different salmonid species throughout its lakes and reservoirs. On the main stem of the Arkansas River, we have a dual population of rainbow trout and brown trout. And the Arkansas River is actually the longest stretch of gold medal water in Colorado, meaning that we have enough biomass and enough quality fish to support that. That's 60 pounds per acre of fish, and at least 14 fish that are 12 inches or better in that reach. So these things are necessary to maintain these gold medal standards, and we work really hard to make sure that this is upkept through regulations and through management. We do have quite a bit of recreational opportunity, and a lot of that is involved in the form of whitewater usage. It's really important to have continuous connectivity in this reach of water so that fish can reach areas of reproduction that are necessary. Fish can reach areas of forage where they need to feed throughout different times of the year, and also have access to various refuge. These are three main key components of the ecosystem. With the redesign of the Scout Wave and working with Mike Harvey, we were able to ensure that this fish passage met the criteria we were looking for. The success of the fish passage was evident within minutes after it was actually opened up, so this was really good for us to see. And then we've also documented many fish moving through there of various size and age classes visually. This is a big win for us as far as ensuring that connectivity of our gold medal waters.
Growing up in Salida for me was really special because of my proximity to the outdoors, so I got to spend a lot of time in the mountains and by the river. And the Arkansas is such a great place to learn. You have lots of different sections of river and classes, so it's a very awesome place to be introduced to it, and river surfing is one of the most perfect ways. Seeing the new whitewater parks and all the new kids being interested in it has really strengthened the community, I think, and it's brought up a whole new generation of river surfers and paddlers. My dad's a big reason that we have the whitewater park and that we have access to the river. His drive and his push to see the river become a more accessible thing for all people in this valley. It was just for the love of the community we have here and wanting to see people get out there.
I was introduced to the river surfing community last year, and it has been completely life-changing. Not only do I get out and enjoy the river in a way that I never have before, but it's brought me this amazing group of people behind me into my life, and it goes beyond just the wave. These are friendships, relationships that I've forged that have extended into other parts of my life, and they are people that I can count on in more ways than just looking out for me on the river, but looking out for me in life in general. And I'm so grateful for that.
It's kind of like a way to connect with your friends and a way to kind of just like focus on yourself and, you know, a good break from like other shit in life. Sorry, can I swear? That's fine.
And we're so blessed to have this in our backyard. It's something that we really care for and always want to improve upon. The community is really strong, really tight. Everyone is like-minded. We love being on the water. We care about the health of the river. We care about water as an overall resource.
You know, the idea is to just get the community out on the river, spending time on the river, and then the benefits from that radiate out into the communities. What I think is like there's no stopping river surfing. Too many communities that want to find something unique that will make young people want to live there, that will make people want to open businesses, that will give some vibrancy to river corridors. You know, rivers all over the US, they're working rivers. They've been for over 100 years, right? And people's mindset has switched from a river being like an open sewer that just conveniently flows downhill away from your community to an asset and a real thing that makes us unique.
See, I've known the Badfish family for years. Mike and Zach are incredible people and river stewards. And those guys, are just so fun to be around and such great people, such family people as well. I have 2 kids and they have kids as well. So much time spent camping and traveling and growing our businesses together. So they're family for sure. And I'm really proud of what they've done, and I'm really honored to be a part of the Badfish movement here on the river here in Buena Vista.
Obviously, when I had kids, my great hope was to share this thing that I love so much with them. That feeling of being a beginner and progressing, and how exciting each of those steps are through the eyes of your kid. It's the coolest thing ever. It's better than me doing that progression. It was more fun for me to see Miles and Chloe progress and continue to progress. And I see that over and over again down at the river, parents with their kids. To see that families have that opportunity, for me, that's the best part of all of this. I mean, the fact that I get to have my family involved in this and to share this love with them that's like been my greatest success.
I was a little nervous to try it because it's kind of how my brother died, but we have releasable leashes and you're not tied to anything. We know what's here, and you can really get familiar with the surroundings, and so I feel comfortable surfing. I'm out here almost every day. It's been one of the best additions to Salida for sure. I'm just really proud of the locals who have made this into like a destination event. Like, our people come here just to surf. It's pretty special.
It's just an incredible sensation, gliding on the water, sense of being weightless. I couldn't really imagine a day without the opportunity to surf, because it's shit.
It brings you fully in the present. It's like you're not focusing on anything else. You're just out there feeling the water, feeling the sun on your skin.
It's a crazy sensation. It feels like you're just gliding on top of water and you're going fast, and you can feel the wind hitting your face, and it's a pretty special thing.
Let go of everything that's like happened that day, just like be one with the river.
Like, I can't surf unless I clear my mind. Like, if you have a lot of brain chatter, you don't catch the wave, you don't stay on the wave. So for me, it's like a form of meditation. You're feeling what's underneath your feet the whole time, and the most subtle movements of your toes and your balance change the board. You just feel like you're kind of at one with yourself and the natural flow of the river and life itself.
Keep trying to fit inside the lines now. What if we never do? Sick of standing on the outside of a crowded room. Rainbows in our eyes can't seem to find the great divide and get to the bottom. Could be somebody else, but who the hell would tell themselves it's us that's the problem? Sometimes it feels like nobody's listening. Sharks in the water, but just keep swimming. We'll never fit in with the rest. We've all got monsters under beds. We'll never change. we got lost, if we disappeared? And tell me right after this rainstorm that the smoke will clear. Looking at our dreams on movie screens and magazines, don't see a reflection.